Hi, guys. Good afternoon. I'm Debbie Sherrick with InsideOutWellnessCoach.com, and I am a holistic codependency coach. And welcome to the Empower Hour. So it's a beautiful sunny day finally today, this afternoon in South Florida, and I'm really excited to get back on the show today, and I'm excited about our topic. And I want to introduce also my partner, my guest who's joining me today on the Empower Show, Laura. Laura?
Hi, how
I
are you?
almost said Bushfinder, but because she's Bushfinder to me, but she's gotten married a few months ago. So her name is Laura Hedges now, and she is Laura Hedges of Yoga Bliss. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Debbie. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I love you. And Laura she's another light worker. She does a lot of energy work with her students, with her yoga business, and also has worked through a lot of codependency relationship stuff. And she's just a great colleague of mine, a great friend of mine. And I just thank her for the times that she does join me on the Empower Hour, and we get to share with you guys. So today we're going to be talking about the process of going through ending relationships. And this topic today is very dear to my heart. And you know what? One of the reasons, Laura, that I love this topic is because everyone can relate to it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep. You want me to start?
Yeah. Well, there's not anyone who's not had to go through the pain and loss of a relationship. You could be going through that right now. And so this topic is very dear to me. And my prayer today, for those of you watching, you may be watching live, or you may watch this later on my Empower Hour YouTube channel. And I just want to let you know that my heart desire, my prayer for you today is that I will be a light to you, that Laura will be a light to you, that will help you have some understanding, give you some hope, inspire you, motivate you, giving you permission to process through the pain, through the loss, through the sorrow of an ending relationship. So today, before we get into how we do that, what that looks like, I want to say that I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable on this topic because, unfortunately, I've had to go through a lot of pain and heartache of ended relationships that were unhealthy for me, relationships that divorce. And so I've had to have practice on how to process. And I want to just thank now all the beautiful light workers and therapists and all in my past who taught me the appropriate way that I'm able now to share and use with clients on how to go through the process of loss. So today, an ending relationship. So today, we're going to talk about different things. It might be, we're going to talk about that maybe you're in a relationship that's unhealthy and toxic. And by the way, I have a free gift on my website, InsideOutWellnessCoach.com, that you can get called 10 Signs of a Toxic Relationship. But you might be in a relationship that is toxic, and you know in your heart that you need to end it. You know in your heart that you need to get out of that relationship. And so this is something that I deal with a lot with clients. They're coming to me because they're in pain of a relationship they're in. They know the relationship is not honoring them. They're on the fence. They're on the fence knowing they need to leave, but they have a lot of fear of ending that relationship. So we're going to talk about that also today, about being in why we stay in relationships that are unhealthy for us and toxic. Then we're also going to be talking about relationships that maybe someone left you, maybe it was a breakup that you did, that you initiated and you got out of because you knew you needed to end it. There's also the pain of loss of death when someone dies. We have to process through the stages of that. But today, primarily, we're talking about ending relationships and how we get through the feelings that we have and the pain and the sadness and the anger and all those emotions that we have when we lose someone that we love very dearly, and we have to go forward in life and to find the next relationship. So we're going to focus on that today. So Laura, I'm going to let you begin and share with us and our listeners and those that are watching a time when you had a love loss and a relationship ended and how you process and handle that, if you would, please.
All right. So it's been a while since I had this loss, but it definitely brings. I feel the memories come back into my body and my mind. I ended the relationship because I knew it wasn't healthy, and I felt like it wasn't going anywhere. But it was very hard. I felt the loss, even though I felt like he wasn't there and available to me. So it was almost like he did do the breaking up, but I had to say it and cut it and stop it. And I felt sad for months. It's like, oh, this song reminds me of him, and everything I did, I was like, oh, I just want to call him. And the loss of communication, it's tough. But I found that when I shared that sad feeling with my friends and loved ones, they helped to fill the void of loss and sadness. And I did a lot of self-empowering practice and work. So I got into Louise Hay, How to Heal Your Life. I read her books and I was repeating positive affirmations to myself. I was like crazy, spiritual, like how can I improve my way of life? So I completely flipped the sadness and grief to empowerment and confidence, and I had to rebuild my confidence up. It took a while before I felt fabulous, but you have to go through that sadness, you have to go through that grief, you have to go through the stages of maybe feeling not worthy or not good enough, and fear that you'll never meet someone again that had that connection with, and so that's scary, being off on your own and starting fresh, but there's a freedom about it if you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, that feeling that you can have anything that you want, and the hope that someone will come your way and be that much better in your next relationship.
Yes. What would you say were, I think, something that's really important, and I was going to talk about this later, but since you brought it up, we're just going to let this show, I really feel like this show just needs to be led by spirit, and that we're just really going to share our hearts today. I've made a few notes of things I don't want to forget to talk about, but really I didn't do a lot of preparation for this show because I really want to speak from my heart and just let this flow by the spirit. So one of the things that I wanted us to talk about today was lessons that we learn, how important it is. I don't feel like we ever make mistakes. I always used to tell my kids this when they would do something. It's never a mistake as long as you learned the lessons from it. And so every relationship that we're in, we talk about this in healing codependent behavior. We talk about this about relationships, that our relationships are a mirror and to us, and that every relationship, I believe, and I know that you believe this too, Laura, every relationship that we have attracted, and they're messengers. They are messengers to help us grow our soul. And some people that we meet and are involved with are true soulmates, are true people that we are supposed in this lifetime to be with. And I love that saying, people are in our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And so but yet they are, that we do attract some people too who are not soulmates, who we are not supposed to be with, who we really, maybe for a season, we're with them to learn a big lesson. So I think it's so important when we are ending a relationship to, in time, we need to ask ourselves, what did I learn from this relationship, and how did I grow? How can I become a better person and not a bitter person? Because so many people in relationships, divorces, breakups of a boyfriend, or ending it can be ending a relationship of a good friend, maybe a girlfriend that is toxic, and you just can't be her friend anymore. It can be a family member that you have to end a relationship with because they're too toxic to be in your life. So whatever relationship we're having to end, I think it's very important that we learn how to become a better person, a stronger person, how to go to higher consciousness thinking and seeing it from a spiritual view, and not become bitter and resentful. There are so many people that have ended divorces or relationships many years ago, and yet when they talk about it today, it was like it happened yesterday. There's still so much unforgiveness and bitterness and resentment and blame, and they feel so victimized still, and they are still stuck. And you know what? You are still allowing that person to have power and control over you when you are still holding on to resentment and unforgiveness. They still have power over you. They are controlling you, actually. They're controlling your life because you're not able to have peace and love and become a better person because of holding on to that. Now, I do want to say that forgiveness is a process. It's something we have to work up to. When someone's really hurt you, really deceived you or abandoned you or broke up with you and really broke your heart, we have to go through the process of a lot of emotions and feelings first. We don't just try to forgive right away and say, oh, well, I'm a godly person, or I'm a Christian, or I'm a spiritual person, so I must forgive immediately. No, we have to go through the process of the emotions and honor our emotions. And so we're going to talk about how we do that and how we honor. So tell me about that particular breakup, Laura, that you just shared with us. What do you feel were some of the lessons that you learned in your own personal growth for you that were good?
Yeah, one of the lessons was self-love, really reminding myself that I'm worth more than what he was giving me, I guess I could say.
Yeah.
So I needed to do more spiritual work, connect with God and my angels, so that I could stand on my own with confidence and courage and speak up for myself and not kind of follow along. I was kind of following along in his footsteps a little bit and just like saying to myself, oh, everything's fine, everything's great. And I had this illusion, like seeing myself in the future with him, with kids and being married. And it was an illusion. And my lesson was to just be more present. I think empowering myself with self-love and giving to myself more. I feel like I learned that I was giving so much of myself to others that I wasn't filling my cup first. And then I felt depleted and not good enough. And that's crap. So
that was your way, that was lessons you learned to get stronger, to change that. But what you also did, what I'm hearing you say, is that you were also taking responsibility of your part in the relationship and what you did wrong to contribute to the relationship. The way the dance, I call relationships, every relationship has a dance that we do.
yeah.
We have a dance that we do with our kids in our relationship, but we have a dance we do with our loved ones and the person we're in love with. And so the dance you did was that you gave too much. It wasn't an equal relationship. You didn't set boundaries. Good. You gave up a lot of your identity and a lot of your own self-empowerment to this person. And they were kind of in control of the relationship more than having, equality in the relationship. So you took responsibility of your part.
Yes. That's well said. And I wanted to mention about forgiveness, because it did take me a while to forgive the situation and the relationship. But I was listening to Wayne Dyer, a speech this morning of his, and he said, once you get bit by a snake, the venom is still inside you. So you can't undo that snake bite, but you can heal your body through whatever, herbs or whatever to get rid of the venom, and that's your forgiveness. So you got to get rid of that.
I love that. What a great analogy.
Right?
I'm going to remember that to share with clients. That's a great analogy, that when you do get bit by the snake, the venom is still in you, and you have to do things, process through healing to remove the venom out of your body, which is the unforgiveness. And it is a process. That's beautiful. Of course, we love Wayne Dyer, and he had so many beautiful sayings and things that I always remember. But also, when you said you started instead of giving to the other person so much, you learned the lesson of giving love and giving to yourself more also. And that is, you've heard me say many times, and when I work with individuals one-on-one, and if you've ever worked with me, you know that my motto for healing unhealthy relationships, codependent behavior and all, is "To thine own self be true," by William Shakespeare. In fact, the whole saying is, "To thine own self be true, therefore you will be false to no man." So it's so important for us to be true to ourselves. And one of the things we do in unhealthy relationships is that we are not true to ourselves. We give up our identity because we're needing love so much, we're wanting, and we don't set boundaries. And then all of a sudden we're in the relationship and we don't like the way we're being treated, but yet our responsibility for that is to remember that we teach people how to treat us by what we allow right from the beginning. So it's really important to set those boundaries in a relationship in the beginning, to let people know what you will accept and what you will not accept, and what's okay and what's not okay. And so respect is something that we teach people. It's not something that we demand. We have to love and respect ourselves first, and once we do that, we will attract someone who will mirror that back to us and love and respect us. You can't, if you don't love and respect yourself, you can't get into a relationship and expect someone else to give you that. And that's a lot of times what we do, right?
Right, absolutely, yeah.
And something else you said too earlier was about when you're going through a breakup, listening to songs that, music, something I was going to bring up today about when we go through the process of sadness and all, and loss, is music is such a beautiful thing. Music is so important in my life for healing and joy and, so many things. And yet when we have a breakup, one of the hardest things, I think, and to do, but I think necessary, is to listen to songs that maybe remind you of the person, that maybe it was favorite songs that you each had together, that you listened to together, and that you both loved, and it reminds you of that person. But if you are working through some sadness and sorrow, sometimes music can help bring that out and bring that up. And I think music is something that is very important and vital in going through the loss of a relationship. So let's begin. Let's start talking about the process and the stages of loss and breakup. It's no different than the stages that we have to go through when someone dies and we lose someone by death. We all of us need to go through these stages of, first we have the denial. And denial a lot of times is something that protects us from pain. But it is something at first, like we just can't believe it. You know, we're just like in denial. We're just like, we can't believe that we're actually losing this person, or that we're actually, you know, that love, we're losing that loss of that love. One of the things that I always encourage clients to do, and I do it myself, is it's important to make a list of the kind of relationship you want, with the needs that you feel are important to you, and what you're looking for. You know, what you want in a relationship. What kind of a person do you want to attract? Do they need to be spiritual? Do they need to be romantic? Do they need to be healthy? You know, that's something real important to me as a health and wellness coach and a personal trainer. I want someone who's healthy. You know, I don't want someone who's got like health issues, really overweight, doesn't take care of themselves. That's not attractive to me. So I put that on my list.
I made a list. I remember doing that.
Remember doing that?
Yeah, I made a list after the breakup, focusing on what I wanted. Yeah.
And what we deserve. Because we, a lot of times, and especially women, don't feel that our needs are important. You know, we're always taking care of everybody else's needs. And that's part of codependency. Also, in any relationship where is that you're focusing on the needs of the other person and totally ignoring your own needs. Now, it's important to be, you know, sometimes a contributor and the other person a consumer, and then sometimes they're contributing and you're consuming. It's got to be back and forth. But a lot of times we totally give up our own needs and we focus on the needs of the other person in order to get their love and their approval. So that's an imbalance. So write down, people, write down, what are you looking for in a relationship? You know, does he need to be, you know, one of my things is I don't want someone who has little children. I've, you know, raised my kids. I have grandchildren now, and I want to enjoy life. I want to have fun. One thing on my list is I have to have someone who likes to dance. You know, I love to dance and I love music, so I want someone who's going to go out dancing with me. Spirituality is right at the top of my list. I need a very spiritual, godly person. So make a list. Romance. You know, I am a diehard romantic. I love romance. I can have candlelight in the morning with pancakes. You know, I just I love romance, and so I want a romantic person. You know. Yeah. So make your list, guys, you know, for what you want to attract. So let's go back to talking about the process. We go through the denial at first because we just can't believe it. And a lot of times people stay in relationships that they need to end, and they stay in denial about what's really going on in the relationship because they do not want to have to make the decision. They do not want to have to do what they need to do. So they go years staying in denial of the truth of the relationship, that it's not honoring them, that it's not good for them, that it's not healthy for them. And yet they're suffering. You know, they may be suffering physically, they may be suffering from stress, they may be suffering from depression, and yet they stay in denial because they do not want to end the relationship because they're afraid. And so fear is something that can keep us stuck in ending a relationship. So what do you think, Laura, are some of the fears that people stay in toxic, unhealthy relationships? What are they afraid of? What do you think?
I think number one, and I hear it a lot with my friends, is feeling alone. And it's so nice to have a partnership, but we have to remember that we are all one, and having a relationship with God or your angels or something, a higher power, will really help you to feel supported, and that the universe has your back, and that you are never alone. And once you get that connection, maybe start with that connection and then move through your fear. So prayers, amazing, or calling on your angels for support and guidance. And once you feel it or experience it in your life, you'll never feel alone again.
Yes, yes. And that's a good point. They're afraid of being alone, and yet, and also afraid of feeling the pain of rejection or abandonment, feeling that abandonment feeling. Maybe they had a lot of that growing up, when they were a child. Maybe people, I find, suffer sometimes a lot of loss in their childhood and growing up. And so the pain of that, maybe they haven't processed through that in a healthy way or had closure on that. And so the pain of loss is so huge for them, the pain of feeling alone, and that they'll settle. They'll say, I'd rather be in this miserable relationship than take the risk of finding someone healthy and ending it. And it's sad, when people go through life like that, because life's just too short to not be happy and not be in a healthy relationship and to settle. And it's so important to be true and to honor yourself.
Yeah.
It's just not comfortable to me anymore. I used to be one of those, that just was so afraid of rejection, and that I would just, give up my empowerment and give up myself in the relationship just to be with that person. And yet that never works, because they never love and respect you in the way that you want. But today, I'm just not comfortable if I'm not honoring myself, if I'm in a relationship that is not honoring to me, and I'm not being treated the way I feel that I deserve to be treated and having my needs met. I don't want to settle. I don't want to be in a relationship like that. I really want to honor myself. And because today, the difference is today, I know that I deserve that. I have good confidence and God confidence, and I love and respect myself today enough to know that I deserve to have that kind of a relationship. So thank you, Laura, also for sharing about how important it is for us to, first of all, have a good, healthy relationship with ourselves, that we aren't afraid to be alone, that it's okay. We need to learn to be our own best friend and be okay with being alone. I can also remember a time, my first divorce was my husband had an affair and left with my best friend. And that was probably one of the most painful endings of a relationship that I ever have been through. I thought I literally could feel my heart just breaking physically. It was horrible, horrible thing to go through. However, I did process through it. I did have forgiveness. I did go through that. But when that first happened, I could not be alone in the house. Like if I was home alone and my kids were with their dad, I had to have the radio on, the TV on. I had to be on the phone with someone. I couldn't stand to be in my own presence. I couldn't stand to feel.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't want to feel the feeling.
Something to, a lot of people will jump into another relationship or date, like serial date right after. I'm not gonna lie, I did that.
Yeah, I think we've all done that. What do we call it? Rebounding, like, oh, okay, I don't want to feel this feeling. The best thing to do is for me to just find another relationship really quick. I think that's a very common thing that people do. However, you're just delaying the inevitable, that you're going to have to eventually go through the pain and go through the process of loss. So that's a great point to bring up, that as we're talking about, we're encouraging you people today, we're encouraging you that are going through loss or ended a relationship or getting ready to process through these feelings and process through what needs to be done, necessary to honor yourself, to love yourself, and know that the only way to get through it is to dive in and go through these feelings and go through these emotions to come out at the other end happier, and that there's light at the end of the tunnel. We want to give you that hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel, no matter how you're feeling. So when we talk about denial too, let's get out of denial. That's like the first stage, that we can be in denial and stay in a relationship, or it ends and we're just in denial, of what happened and why they broke up with this, or we're in denial about our responsibility about the relationship and what we allowed and didn't allow. Then after denial, we can either go through some anger or go through sadness. Both are necessary. Sometimes I find, for me anyway, I first go right into the sadness. I go right into the tears. I go into the sorrow. I go into the, just really feeling very, very sad and feeling the pain of the loss. And, so many people try to not feel sadness and not cry because it's very vulnerable to be in that position. Anger, staying angry, feels more powerful. And actually, anger can be a guard that we use. If I stay angry, I don't have to feel sad. Let me just stay angry and wall you out and wall out other people and wall myself in my anger, because it feels better for me to be angry at the person than to feel the sadness. And even though we have to have both emotions, sadness is so important. Don't you think, Laura, that, sadness doesn't feel good.
Right.
When we're going through that grief and sadness, it's not a good feeling.
No, and if you hold it in for too long, you might find that when you least expect it, the tears start to come. Maybe there's a movie that you're watching or that song comes on, and then you just gotta let it go. Otherwise, it's like that venom. It's gonna eat you up inside and finally spill out.
Yes. And sadness too, if you stuff your sadness and your tears and your sorrow, you'll find yourself also getting depressed, because inward, holding that in, it'll come out as depression. So today we want to give you permission and encourage you to allow yourself to feel the sadness, to cry as long as you need to cry, get alone with God, get alone with your angels. For me personally, going through the ending of a relationship and feeling the sadness I could not do it without God. I could not do it without prayer. I could not do it without my angels and calling upon them to assist me, to help me. And, some people, when a relationship ends and they're upset about that and they feel like, they're mad that they lost that person, they run from God. They're mad. They might blame God. How could you let this happen? I'm the opposite, and I run to God. When I'm going through sorrow, I'm going through sadness, I'm going through a hard time in my life, I dig deeper. I just can't spend enough time alone with God. And I want to also say that when we were talking about learning to love and respect yourself and honoring who you are, I think that it is so important, and this is how I coach. Because I coach, holistically codependency and using a lot of the chakra energy centers. And one of my main goal with clients is to teach them higher consciousness living, how to live in higher consciousness and have connection with spirit, whatever that is for you, whatever your source is. I choose to call him God, or her God, however you want to say, but your source, your light source, your spirituality, that your spirit is connecting to spirit. And so that's where we really want to live daily, is in that higher consciousness place. And one of the ways that I coach people to do that and teach them to do that is for them to start learning and how God sees them. What does God think of you? How does God see you? How does he love you? And that we have that relationship knowing that he created us and loves us so much, and that we can start seeing ourselves through the eyes of God, because he looks at us as perfection. He doesn't look at our flaws and focus on our flaws and what we did wrong and how we screwed up. He just sees love. God is love. And so I think one of the ways for us to have healthier relationships is for us to have a healthy relationships ourselves with spirit, with God, and know how much we are loved. To me, that's the most important relationship that we can have, is our relationship with self and our relationship with God.
Absolutely. I think that's the key thing that helped me get through the end of my past relationship. having that connection and knowing that I was supported. Even if I felt sad, it was okay, and God loves me and will support you. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's so many beautiful, you know, I love Pandora. I have it playing all the time in my house. I have so many stations on Pandora, but one of my favorite stations is Carrie. I think it's Kari, Joby, Jobe, Carrie Joby. And it's a praise and worship station, but the music is phenomenal. The music's so beautiful in that station. And it's a very healing station, music. Some of the songs on there just talk about, you know, how God's going to get you through the storm, how God's going to hold your hand, how God's right there with you, how, you know, you're not alone. One of my favorite songs of hers is I Am Not Alone. And so if you have never heard that song, pull it up on YouTube. Carrie Joby, I Am Not Alone, is such a beautiful song if you're going through loss or the ending of a relationship and going through the sadness part, just to let you know you're not alone going through this. So sadness is another process that we need to go through. We all have to go through that. Allow yourself to be sad as long as you need to be sad. Allow yourself to go through the grieving process. There is no time limit. You know, say, well, a week I'm going to I don't know what happened there.
Oh, good, you're back.
Yes. Did it only leave for a minute? Let me
Yeah.
see. Okay, good. So again, you know, don't get stuck in the sadness. Stay, you know, work through it. Cry as much as you need to cry. Sometimes you'll feel like you are through it, and you'll notice each day I don't feel as sad as I did yesterday. I don't feel as sad as I did last week. And then all of a sudden the song will come on or something will remind you, and you might have to cry again, and that's okay. But don't stay sad forever and stay victim and blaming the other person and getting to that victim triangle where you're, you know, the victim triangle is that where we play the victim, we blame them, and we persecute them. And that way we don't take responsibility ourselves in what our part was in the relationship, because a relationship's two people. You know, it takes two. It wasn't just the other person's fault. You know, even if they were abusing us or treating us bad, our responsibility is that we allowed it, and that we taught them that it was okay to do that by allowing it. Maybe we didn't have boundaries. Maybe we didn't speak up for our needs. You know, whatever it was, what we all have a part in the relationship. Acting out our wounds and doing the dance in the relationship. So the sadness, then the anger. We want to make sure too that we do allow ourselves to get angry. I can remember when I was talking about my first divorce that I went through with my husband and best friend. That's the first time that I went to therapy. You know, I was in, I think, my late 29 years old, and I had not worked on any of my stuff or any of my childhood dysfunction. And I was so stuck in sadness, I couldn't get out of sadness, and I was depressed, and I was sad, and I just couldn't. And she really helped me get into anger. She says, you need to get angry. You need to get really pissed off about what happened and get out of this sadness. And, you know, I had to give myself permission to get angry. And the reason for that was, you know, I grew up in an abusive home where my father was very angry when he was drunk, alcoholic. And then to me, anger was not an okay emotion. I was afraid of anger. And I never allowed myself to really show anger or feel anger. I would go right into feeling sad and victim because I was afraid of anger. Well, once I started, you know, I started out journaling, and that's something else I want to say is a process, is a great tool, is journal. Journal every day how you're feeling about the ending of the relationship. Journal your emotions. Write to God, write to your, just between you, and just get it out. And journal about it. And so I started writing about the anger that I had about what happened. And then I took a ball. She had me take a ball and go out and throw it against the fence and keep playing catch and just throw it as hard as I could against the fence. Then I started, at that time I was jogging, and I would get up in the morning and go out and run, and my neighbors probably thought I was crazy, but I would like scream and holler, I hate you, I'm so angry, I can't believe you did this to me. And I would just get, you know, exercise can be a great way to get out of anger, like punching a punching bag, working out intensely, running, just to move that. Yeah, dance, yes, dance. Just, you know, emotion is energy in motion. So we want to get it unstuck. And so I would just start screaming and hollering, and then I would get a bat, one of those not rubber, what do they call those? What?
Plastic bag.
Yeah, I think then it was a plastic bag. Now they have, I have clients get the Nerf.
Oh yeah.
Nerf. And I would just start hitting a chair or hitting a pillow as hard as I could, because I had to get that anger out of me. And boy, once I took the lid off that anger, it was like a volcano erupting. It just all started spewing out. So then I went through the stage of anger with, you know, that situation. We want to make sure we go through the anger. And then after we go through, you know, the sadness and the anger, sometimes we'll go through the bargaining stage. And the bargaining stage is, you know, well, maybe we could make it if we did this. Well, maybe if I did this, you know, we think in our mind, or we might even try to bargain with the person, you know, well, what about if we do this? And what about if I did this? And we're going back kind of in denial, bargaining, trying to figure out a way to make it work when we know deep down it needs to end, it's over, and we have to stop that connection. To move on. We can't be bargaining and thinking, you know, how it can work. Did you do that with that relationship you were talking about, Laura? Did you ever go through any of the bargaining? Like,
yeah, I think it was like before I kind of knew in my gut that the relationship was done, but before I said, okay, we're done, we kind of did, okay, now, or I would tell him, you know, you need to do this, this, and this, and this to make it work. Yeah, we were doing a little bargaining.
Yeah. And also some things we'll do to keep it from ending is that we try so hard to get them to get it. You know, we're trying to instruct them and train them and teach them this, you know, and they're not getting it. You know, they're just not at that level of awareness. And we need to believe what people show us. You know, people show you their truth. People show you by their actions, and we need to believe that. And I think that's a lot of staying on the fence. That people, you know, they say, well, if I stay, you know, he needs to do this, this, and this, and I want to see if he's going to do this, this, and this. But if I leave, I'm so afraid of I'm not going to make it, or the rejection, or I have financial fears, or whatever that is that keeps you stuck. But staying on that fence can be a very painful place to be too, that you know you need to do it, but you're not doing it. And sometimes people wait for crisis to end something. Yeah. They're only moved by crisis. So don't wait for the crisis to happen before you get out of the relationship that you know you need to. You know, there's healthy ways to end a relationship other than that. And I was just thinking about something too when I was talking about being on the fence and bargaining, is that so many times we fall in love with potential. We see a potential in someone, and we say, oh, I just know with my help, you know, and my guidance or my love that this person can become this. And, you know, I think that's a very common thing for women, to fall in love with potential, and we need to see what people truly are, who they are, by what they show us. That is the truth. That is our truth.
Yeah.
So next stage then after the bargaining is the acceptance, that we get into accepting the truth of what happened and accepting that it's over. And this is something that as Laura mentioned earlier, takes process. You know, it just takes time to get to that place where we have the acceptance of it's over and it's ended, and now I'm moving on, and I'm trusting that the universe and God is going to open a new door for me and bring me that next relationship that is healthy when I'm ready, in God's time, that we will have that relationship that is healthy. So, you know, that acceptance, and you know, they say that acceptance is the key to serenity. And I believe that. You know, once we have that acceptance, we finally get that peace and we get that serenity inside because we've had the acceptance. Then after we work through the acceptance, we can come to the forgiveness part, and where we can forgive the person, we can forgive. Also, it's important that we forgive ourselves, you know, for being in the relationship, for what we did in the relationship. Sometimes the big forgiveness is ourself that we need to forgive. Did you have to do that, Laura, with your, like, forgive yourself for how you allowed yourself to be treated? Or
Absolutely. Yeah, I forgive myself, not standing up and setting up, you know,
yes.
I gave up a bit of myself, and I had to forgive myself for doing that and not honoring myself and being true to myself for longer than I should have, probably.
Yes, yes. And when we don't forgive ourselves, that's when a lot of times when we've been in a relationship that we shouldn't have been in, or was not healthy for us, or maybe they broke up with us and it ended however it ended. We want to make sure that we don't go into that shame of not feeling good enough. And remember, that's what shame is, and that is kind of the core too, root of codependency, is shame and feeling not good enough. And so a lot of times we have to watch those signs of shame, that we don't dive into feeling not good enough, and that we're never going to have another relationship. We're not going to have what we deserve, that someone has rejected us, that someone has broke up with us, or so we want to be careful too, not to get into the shame.
Yeah, I find that when I was reading Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, her affirmations completely transformed that feeling. I did feel shame. So every morning I would recite, I am loving, lovable, and loved. Or I am strong, I am courageous and beautiful. So I was filling my head with positive affirmations to transform that feeling of not good enough and shame. And I really do believe the power of your thoughts and intentions can completely transform your life.
Yes, absolutely. Affirmations are terrific. I have them right now. I have some affirmations taped on my big mirror in my bedroom. I also love scripture and claiming God's promises in scripture in my life for healing, or for everything, actually, not just healing, but for everything. I think that part of process of going through what our topic today about ending relationships and loss is, I think that nature is so important also. For us to get out into nature, maybe get grounded, sit under a tree, go to the beach. You know, we have beaches here in South Florida, and the beach and the ocean is tremendous healing for me. And so when I'm not feeling grounded, or I'm feeling not connected and I want to have peace, I go to the beach. I love the beach. And just sitting out sometimes on my porch and listening to the waterfall in the evening or early morning, nature to me is so healing. So I think, and as we're talking about our topic today and going through the process, we've given you some good ideas about the emotions, honoring your emotions and whatever you're feeling. You know, feelings are not good or bad, and they're not facts either, but they're feelings and they're yours, and you need to honor those and honor the process that you're going through, and give yourself permission to go through the process of loss and of the relationship. This is a time that you really want to nurture yourself. And so pick things, you know, that really feel good to you, that are loving to you, that are nurturing to you. You know, start eating healthier foods. Take a nice hot bubble bath by candlelight. Treat yourself to a nice romantic dinner yourself. Maybe purchase yourself a beautiful piece of jewelry. You know, start loving on you. Start honoring and nurturing you. Spend quiet time with yourself to just sit and feel. Just, even though it might feel uncomfortable, get to a quiet place. I like to do that early in the morning, is to just sit and just feel the sadness and cry and give it to God. Feel the anger, feel the loss, and just allow that, because you know, feelings buried alive never die. We have to process and get those feelings out, and if we don't, it will affect us physically. We'll start seeing things show up in our bodies. It will affect us spiritually, and it will also show up and come out in the next relationship if you don't process through the feelings and get to the place of letting go of the resentment, having the forgiveness, and being able to let go and let God. So I hope that today this show really has encouraged and inspired, and as I said earlier, that we have been a light to some of you out there who are going through the ending of a relationship. You can continue to write about this. If you're not watching the live Google Hangout and you're on the Facebook page on my link, empowerhourshow.com/live, you can continue to write on the Facebook group. Excuse me. And we can continue the topic. I also have an Inside Out Wellness Codependency Empowerment page on Facebook. Laura?
Yes, I'm going to share a quote with you real quick.
Okay, good.
Okay? All right. For a seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must come completely undone. The shell cracks, its insides come out, and everything changes. To someone who doesn't understand growth, it would look like complete destruction. So maybe you're going through a change in your life right now, and it may seem chaotic and destructive, but it just means you're growing and becoming a better version of you. So.
Yes. And I also, that's beautiful, because, you know, I love things, analogies like that you can picture, you know, and that's a great analogy. It's kind of like the cocoon, you know, and how ugly a cocoon is, and the caterpillar that starts turning into a butterfly and coming out, you know, it's beautiful. And, you know, one of my favorite scriptures is all things work to good for those that love the Lord. And he doesn't say some things, he says all things. So we have to have that faith in believing that good is going to come out of this. No matter how bad it feels, how painful it feels, how sad it feels, good is going to come out of this, and you're going to become a stronger person. You're become a better person, not bitter, but better. It's your choice to become better. And that there's many, many lessons in this that you're going through, that you're going to be learning, and you're going to become more empowered. And you never know. You just never know how God is going to use you and use this situation to further you and grow you. And we just can't see yet, but just have faith and trust. So we're going to end this with a little meditation of, we're going to be focusing on the second chakra, which is the sacral energy center, which is at the belly button and below. That's your relationship center. And that's your relationship to self and your relationship to others. And the energy there, it's a water chakra, water element. So when you're going through the breakup or the ending of a relationship, it's important to be around water. Listen to a waterfall, go swimming, get yourself in the ocean or in a pool, take lots of baths. It's going to, healing waters, it's going to help you heal through the loss of the relationship. But also, this is the place where we have cords of attachment. And we can have cords of attachment to people that we have broke up with, people that have ended the relationship. We can have cords of attachment to people in our past. So hang on a second. I didn't even realize that my computer was unplugged and the battery was running down. So we're going to do a little meditation here. I'm going to let Laura lead it because she's wonderful with leading her yoga people with meditation. We're going to walk you through or do this meditation with you about cutting cords of attachment. And the reason that we want to do this is sometimes when we've ended a relationship or a relationship has ended, whether we chose it or not, we will still have a cord of attachment to that person that we are so emotionally tied into them that we can't move forward in our life because we're connected. We're still too energetically. Think of this now as energy. We're still energetically connected to that person. We're still emotionally too tied into that person. And we need to cut that cord of attachment. Laura, I was just thinking, as I was talking about this, wouldn't this be a great show to do on the Empower Hour show, is talking about cords of attachment and energetically still being attached to people in our past.
Absolutely, yes. We can do a whole another hour or so on that.
Do a show on that, because we can have cords of attachment still to our parents or people who have passed on, people that, in past lives even. So it's important for us when something is still bothering us and we still feel that connection, of that energy of that person, that soul tie with that person, and we're trying to move on forward into another relationship in the future, that we need to cut those cords to that person. So we're not energetically connected to them anymore. So Laura, I'm going to turn it over to you. So you can lead us through this meditation.
Okay, great. All right, so before we start, I just want to put a shield of protection over all of us. You can either just sit here in a comfortable seated position, or you can use take your hands, palms face up, and take a nice deep breath. Inhale, reach them up over your head. Imagine a beautiful white light over you, and then exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Good, and then we're gonna envision a beautiful blue protective light surrounding us. You can inhale, reach your arms out again, and then all the way up, full breath in, and then exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Beautiful. So you can just rest your hands in your lap, you can cup them over one another, and just close your eyes. And I want you to picture a beautiful orange, bright light expanding through your sacral chakra, so just below your belly button. And take a nice deep breath there. Inhale fully. Inhale through the nose, and then open mouth, exhale through your mouth. So inhale more love, more light for yourself. Open mouth, exhale, release any fear. One more like that. Inhale, love. Fill your belly, ribs, chest. And open mouth, exhale, release. Then I'd like you to imagine a cord coming from your belly button to the person that you want to release and cut that attachment to. So you can imagine their sacral chakra below their belly button, and a cord expanding from you to them. And then I want you to picture either a blade or a scissor. You can even actually take your hand and cut up and down in front of your belly button. So cutting that attachment. You can do it physically or just imagine it. Just releasing that cord. And then imagine that person turning around, walking away with peace. And then you feel this beautiful, peaceful energy surrounding you. And breathe into your solar plexus chakra, breathing in more courage, confidence, and ease. And then exhale, releasing that cord, releasing that attachment to that person. Just notice how you feel. And throughout your day, if you want to do that several times, you feel like you need to cut the cords again, please do. And then we'll end our practice with our hands at heart center. Just bow your head to your heart, honoring your beautiful light within yourself and within each other. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease, love, and forgiveness. And may all beings everywhere be loved and free. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks, God.
Thank you, Laura. That was beautiful. So thank you guys for joining us today. If you're on with us live, or maybe you're going to watch this later on YouTube, I just want to thank you. I feel so privileged to be able to be called into doing this work as a codependency life coach. I'm so grateful for being able to share internationally, actually, on the Empower Hour show. And I just pray for all of you out there who are going through this process right now, and loss and ending relationship, that you will be surrounded by God's light. And I pray healing, and that you will process through this in a very healthy way, and that you will come out stronger than ever. You can contact me through my website. I have a contact email form there. That is insideoutwellnesscoach.com. Also, you can watch the show. It's the empowerhourshow.com/live. So you can watch this particular show, or you can go to my YouTube channel and watch some of the past shows. So they look for me on Facebook, Debbie Sherrick, and thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll see you again real soon. Laura, why don't you give some information of how people can get in touch with you for maybe some of your classes?
Sure, yeah. My website is yogabliss.info. And you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. Look up Laura Bliss Finder, BLISSFINDER. And hopefully we can connect there. Okay?
Okay. Thanks, guys. We'll see you real soon. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.